gun here. Now, here are the games for this week. We don't have the graphic, but I'm going to look over towards the graphic. The first game at the top is Texas OU, 11 o'clock Saturday at the Cotton Bowl. And everybody but Emory is picking Texas. Emory is picking OU because he's a good friend of Craig's.
Oh, and he's also from Oklahoma.
Oh,
yes,
that's right.
He is.
That's right.
He's biased.
He is
I don't know why when I hear his name is Emery, like some old like grandma on a black and white TV show or something.
Like some yeah.
I love the name.
Like on Yeehaw.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So across the board, here's my deal with this, and all of us can discuss each one of our picks. But Texas, to me, has just so much explosion. Yes, Oklahoma has some weapons too. There's just something different, and this is not anything that overhyping UT. This is an emotional game that if you haven't been to it, then you know it's crazy. It can flip on an early turnover or something. But I'm taking UT. I just think they have too many weapons. They'll outscore OU, and that's not even if Oklahoma can move the ball enough to get within reason here.
I think this game is actually, because of the weird rivalry thing, going to be a little bit lower scoring than maybe people are predicting. That doesn't mean I think it's going to be 17-14. I just think that I don't know if it's going to get into like that, 35-31 range. I think it might be a little bit lower than that just because there's a lot of stakes in this one. There's a lot of tension. I think people will be playing up above their station a lot. So I'm going to go with Texas in what I think will be a good game for most of it. I just think they have too much depth that Oklahoma does not have right now.
Yeah, I'm going with Texas. Feel pretty confident in making that pick, but it is Red River, so you never know, and that's why we love this sport. I think Oklahoma's absolutely equipped to pull off an upset should things fall right, but I just think black and white's just not taking into account these wild cards that are unknowns completely. That's to pick Oklahoma. I feel like, well, this would have to happen. And instead of just straight up, who do you think's better? I think Texas is better right now. I think Texas is a deeper, better team, and so not blow them away type of a team, but I do think that Texas is better, and I think that'll show on Saturday.
Garrett, I'm sorry, Jack. Garrett, what was your record last week? Did you?
I was 3-2, I believe.
Okay, all right. We're going to update the scores a little bit later on. At any time when I actually go to pop something with his papers, it's because we have a little bit of a problem here in the studio today that was in here yesterday. It's called a big fly. Garrett, your thoughts, Texas OU?
I think this is going to be a really good game. Honestly, I feel like Texas has too much talent, especially in the trenches, that they'll be able to pull away in the fourth quarter. But it's one of those where it never matters in this type of game. Throw the records out the window. Things can get weird. But I just think Texas is too deep right now for Oklahoma.
All right, so we take Texas. Emory does play. Put up the big Oklahoma. And
look, I'd be glad to be wrong about this. I'd be glad to be wrong.
Greg's a lifelong Oklahoma fan. Nothing wrong with that. Now, the LSU Tigers, they're a mess. They're giving up just massive amount of points. Ole Miss boat raced them, and then LSU put up a lot of points, but not enough. This game in Missouri, in Columbia, I'm still taking LSU. I just feel like they probably still have just too much, although Missouri has sure been kind of fun to watch this year.
Yeah, I think LSU's got too much offense for this, although Missouri might have the best offensive day of the year because their defense, LSU's defense, is just so bad. But I'm taking LSU in this one. If LSU loses this game, this will probably be the last time I pick them if we put them. If LSU loses this game, we may not put them back up here.
If LSU loses this game, will they get to a bowl game?
I mean, I'm sure they'll squeak their way into one, but it'll be something
it'll be a bottom level. Yeah.
Yes, I went LSU originally in this for some of the reasons that you guys mentioned. I just feel like they're more talented in this and that, but I don't know, why default to somebody? I don't know. There's a little something special going on in Columbia right now, and I don't know if it's all just smoke and mirrors or if there's actually something to it. But if you're going to hit LSU, you're going to hit them in the air. And Brady Cook's come off a pretty good game passing last week, and they got some good receivers. And Luther Burden is a dude who, even if they contain him, you put so much focus on him, there's others that can hurt you. So I know that this has been a little bit of the schedule and just what have you, a little bit of luck. Kansas State was the walk-off field goal, so Missouri almost had the loss there. But I don't know, being in Columbia and LSU's just kind of reeling. The last time I sort of gave LSU the benefit of the doubt, they didn't return that. And so I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. They've got to go prove it to me. So I'm going to say that the magic continues at Mizzou for the time being.
All right, so we go to the next game. And that one is UCLA and Washington State. What a run it's been for Washington State. They had the really nice win Obviously, with a game against Oregon State a couple of weeks ago, they just keep rolling. And here they are. UCLA is like a field goal or so favorite the last time I looked in this game.
Yeah, I'm just a Cam Ward believer, so I'm going to go with them. Although UCLA's defense is legit. They're really good. I don't think that you're going to see Cam Ward throw 7 touchdown passes in this thing or create the kind of offense he has in some of the other games. I think he's going to make something happen here. I like what they've got going on there at Wazoo, and I'm gonna take them in one of their many vengeance games this year.
Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Cam Ward and feel like, I may not love that I was, seeing him at Incarnate Word and then to see him at Washington State and just be as good as he's been these last couple of years has been awesome. I'm just, I'm thrilled by how much exposure he's getting, and that's great. And I totally believe just when in doubt, go with Cam Ward. But I don't know, just something about, I know that there's not some great home field advantage here, but UCLA's at home. I do think that their defense is pretty good. And, Washington State's got to be able to prove that they can run the football, So, I think if UCLA is able to stop them from running the football and can kind of focus in and apply some pressure on Cam Ward, now he can go make some magical plays, but I don't know. I just see where that's being a little bit of not, this turning into the high-scoring affair. Now, if it does, you got Chip Kelly on one sideline, and I know that you got a young quarterback, and he's taken some lumps along the way. But, yeah, I don't know. There's just something about UCLA and their defense and their young quarterback that I think they're going to be able to just match up pretty well with Washington State. But I totally get why Wazoo's the wide pick. But, yeah, I'm going with the powder blue here.
Well, they remember they didn't score against Utah, but Utah was at the time pretty good, and of course they took it on the chin last weekend. I'm going to go with the hot team. I'm going to go with the quarterback that maybe makes a play or two extra in the game. UCLA needs that win, though, after the loss to Utah to make sure that they don't, all of a sudden disappear. Not that they will, but I'll take Washington State. All right. Then the one, I just changed my pick, and that usually ends up being bad, but Alabama at Kyle Field against Texas A&M.
So you're taking Bama, right?
I am taking Alabama.
You're taking Bama. I'm taking A&M for this reason. They will get so keyed up for this game. They are going to do things in this game that they didn't know, in their heart of hearts, they never imagined doing, and beat Alabama. Then they will lose a game to a team that they should absolutely not lose to in the next couple of weeks.
That's what they do.
Because that's what they do. So this one, they're going to be locked in. They're trying to wash off that Miami game. They can probably contain Milroe into making him have to throw the ball enough to where they get them off the field. Not going to be a whole lot of points scored in this game. A&M has more weapons. They'll win the game, but that means probably nothing because they will squander it all away later.
Yeah, I'm just riding with the magic of being at Kyle Field and just kind of the feel going into this game as much as anything else. I do think they match up really well. This is not a year where Bama's got the without a doubt talent advantage. Although, you could probably pick some spots where that's still the case. But I don't know. I think A&M matches up pretty well. I think, Max Johnson is a guy that got a lot of experience. So, compared to Milroe, I don't know that there's just some wide talent gap there either. I don't know. I'm honestly buying into just kind of the feel as much as anything else. And the fact that, Bama is a little bit vulnerable. And this isn't just some juggernaut rolling in necessarily. And even if it is, I think A&M's defense is pretty dang good, especially up front. So, yeah, give me the Aggies at home to get a big win in College Station and see where this takes them with Jimbo Fisher. That would really make the SEC West a really interesting race shaping up if Bama were to take a loss.
The playmaker in this game is Aniyah Smith, right? He is capable of going 80 at any time, taking a kick or a punt return or something else on offense. And so Alabama used to have 3 or 4 of those guys. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to go with Alabama, even though the last time they were at Kyle Field, we know what happened. A dramatic finish to that game with the field goal that was good.
You don't need to act like you're going out on some limb picking Nick Saban in Alabama.
No, I feel like I'm on my own little rabbit hole.
Really
here.
not the underdog pick, to be frank with you, but I understand. Yeah.
No, Garrett, you're with me.
I am with you.
Most people are. It's Alabama. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
saying
wasn't even looking, yeah.
I'm saying you don't need to explain. It's Alabama. Like I mean, it's not like there's some like little underdog rolling into town.
Oh,
or
I
anything.
I think that Alabama is like a massive underdog here and a chip on their shoulder. I'm just kidding.
No, they're not.
Yeah, the poor little upstart Alabama.
Yeah.
They're just
such
hoping
a
they
sad
keep just
statement.
kind of like a moral victory here if
Yeah.
they can get within 20.
Look, this is when they're having a year like this. This is like, oh, they got bumped from first class one time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like,
I'm just saying, like you don't have to explain. It's Alabama. Like you can say it's Alabama, and everybody
and
understands.
that's probably why I changed my pick. Garrett.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think having guys like Jace McClellan come back to Texas, and you look at the situation with the quarterback. I mean, he's from Katy Tompkins. I think that Jalen Milroe will come out and ball out pretty much essentially in front of his family and friends, in front of a home crowd. And also from an Alabama perspective, if you're Nick Saban, can you afford to lose to both teams in Texas, given the recruiting that you're going to have to do going forward?
Yeah, they have lost already to the team out of Austin, and that would be a team out of college. Would that set up next year in the SEC?
Oh, it would be bad
as well. All right, so there's that one. Baylor and Texas Tech. Both teams need a win. This is almost like a mini early season type bowl game, like bowl berth type game. I'm going with Baylor because they're at home. Although if I would have said that because Texas Tech was at home last year, it was 45-17 Baylor. I do think Baylor's picked up some mojo here. I think this is going to be like 36-30 or something like that. Whoever wins the running game, whoever has the bigger game, Brooks or Reese, win this game, I'll take Baylor.
Yeah, I think I'm picking Baylor for one reason and one reason only. Joey McGuire's 1-7 on the road. Baylor may have some renewed confidence. That's the only reason I'm picking Baylor. I don't know if last week means anything yet. I just don't know. Or if that was just a moment in time. Because it could mean something, or it could mean like the year they beat A&M in double overtime, the Dominique Ziegler catch, where that didn't really mean anything for Baylor in that season. They still weren't very good. They just ruined A&M's day and the rest of their season, but it didn't change who they were. Like that's what we need to know about Baylor right now.
All right, Craig?
I'm in the outlier here. I'm the only one. I'm picking Texas Tech. And the reason being is you're right. They suck on the road, or they have under Joey McGuire up until this point. But I like that it's been kind of quiet for them this week. And last year was really loud, right? In terms of the buildup and Baylor and McGuire and all this kind of jazz and the big Saturday night. And now the shoe's on the other foot, but there's just a lot less steam there. I think Tech is locked in and focused. I think that they've played a pretty tough schedule up until this point. You can make a case for why they should have a better record than they do, including potentially a win over Oregon. And I know that, it's not a sure thing on any side of the ball necessarily. I do think that they match up pretty well with one another, but this is mostly because I just think that I don't want to overcorrect too hard on Baylor, and because they had a massive comeback last week that, everything's fixed now, they're good to go, everything's better. I'm not sold, and so maybe I'm outthinking myself by overcorrecting too far the other way, but I just need to see more. And you know what? They have not been good in big marquee games at home. The last few of them have been blowouts, whether it was Texas or it was K-State last year, or you can point to the Utah game, not necessarily marquee at night like this one, but they've not been great at home per se. So I don't know.
Their two biggest wins last year were in Lubbock and Norman.
Yeah. And so they haven't had a big home win in quite some time. And I don't know. I just think they're pretty evenly matched, and this will be a tight game, but I give the slight edge to Texas Tech.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, when you don't know these two teams, then you don't know these two teams because they've given you that reason. Tech, of course, has played Oregon. Baylor's played Utah and Texas. So there's a couple of teams that are pretty good. We'll see what happens. Those are the picks. Based on the updates, Garrett, what did you say you were last week?
I believe I was 3-2. I know I lost the LSU
So Emory and Paul are 14-11. Craig is 13-12. I'm 12-13, and Garrett, you're now 10-15 after the 3-2
Just
week.
terrible.
And we'll have the graphic. No, this is hard. It'd be worse. So no one would be above 500 if we used the spread. It's hard to pick games in the first place, but especially against the spread.
Well,
so there we are with that.
Typically what you would probably want to do is have like about 5 more games that are a little bit easier, not the top of the line, that could like even that out a little bit, because I think just doing these 5, even just head up, like you said, doing the spread, it would be a nightmare. But I mean, they've been tough games. Like a lot of these games have been like your big surprise, like you just can't call it type of games, and that's been fun.
Sir, blah, blah, blah. You guys are costing me money. Garrett, go ahead.
Well, we didn't tell you to do that.
No, I was talking about with the picks because Craig, you make a really good point, and that was something Jack and I talked about with ours. Do you think we should throw in the 4 new coming schools?
No,
coming
I
in,
think it
or
should
just
be
let it
hard.
ride?
I mean, we can. I don't care. I don't. That's not my. I think it should be hard. I mean,
Okay,
look,
yeah.
It's only a 4-game difference through the
Right.
first 5 weeks or 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, the only
we
point-
can do that if you want.
No, I mean the only reason I say is because we could dance it up and dress it up and make it look like it's a lot better because there would be some easier. But like just doing the 5, I do think makes it tough because those are the ones that are the big question mark games. So yeah, I think it's fine, but we're just gonna have to let our egos get bruised a little bit from time to time.
Oh, I mean, I've seen guys who pick against the spread, like Bruce Feldman does that, and he picks a ton of games. And man, you could go 1-9 easily. You can get smoked pretty quickly.
There's somebody that did who's like, I guess, a national guy, so to speak, and somebody dug up like one of his predictions from, I guess, the week prior, and they were like, gosh, who was it? I wish I could remember, but
Andy Staples or something.
I think it was Andy Staples.
Yeah,
He
he
just
had a
one
bad week one week.
and it was like, hey, how you doing? Like checking in on you. So yeah, it's not the easiest thing in the world. But
all right,
yeah.
thank you very much. As KCM says, this is not financial advice.
No.
Believe me, let Edward Jones do all of that for you. Camelo, did the Texas OU line